When I share my story, it's about more than solving the mysteries of our solar system. I represent the curious spirit of the nation, the Choctaw Nation. I am our past. I am our present. I am our future. I am all of us. When we share, we become one because our stories make us more. Stories keep our culture alive. See them and share them at togetherwe'remore.com.
People don't know what it is to be champions. Oklahoma invented it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Through the Keyhole. It's an Oklahoma football podcast. And guess what? It's Oklahoma football season for 2025. We made it. We made it. You made it. Congratulate. Pat yourself on the back. That was one of the longest off seasons that I can remember. And while I'm not an Oklahoma City Thunder fan, the Thunder did do a good job of distracting me from the fact that that was the longest off season of my life, because all we had left to look back on was the Navy game. Usually around this time of year, I've been watching previous games from the previous season. Well, there's not a lot to do with that. So again, the off season has been long, but we have made it and you have made it. So congratulations to you. I am Brady Trantham alongside. Let's go with Peyton, caddy corner for me on the Zoom call. Peyton Guthrie, how are you doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Glad to be back on, obviously. Been kind of under the weather and traveling quite a bit, but glad to be back on. Game week. Ready for it.
And then you're going to be traveling. Well, you're not really traveling. You'll just be busy this weekend.
I'll be busy, yes. I'll be at Tushkahoma for the Choctaw Nation Labor Day Festival, as is annual tradition for me. I'll be watching the game where I can, probably backstage in a production truck somewhere.
Did you catch the Temple game last year when you were doing this?
Yeah, I was able to like pop in and out and kind of watch it from that side. Dog was super upset.
Were you happy that you didn't get to really pay attention and watch it? You can be honest.
Well, I mean, yeah, at that point in time, you're thinking, hey, it's the game. Who cares? They're ironing out some wrinkles. I wasn't too overtly concerned about a couple of things. The only thing I was really concerned is lack of push. Obviously, that's if we're going to very, very quickly talk about something we need to pay attention to is how much Oklahoma pushes these guys around.
Please, God, please push them around like the Illinois State Redbirds that they are. Matthew Burton, you look, are you letting the hair grow out a little bit, man?
I'm trying to. No, I'm just kidding. I got a haircut scheduled for Friday, so we're good.
What about
it's coming off.
What about the facial hair? Is that also getting cut on Friday?
That will be trimmed as well. I'm gonna look like a brand new man heading into game day on Saturday.
I don't think I've ever seen your beard that thick.
Matt is massaging his beard. You guys can't see this.
Yeah, just running my fingers through it a little
it looks
bit,
very luxurious.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, yeah, I'm getting it all cut off. Realistically, dude, I just I sometimes forget and get lazy to like schedule a haircut. So
it happens.
That's all that's going on right now. It looks terrible right now.
No, that's the, for those listening, that's the $10 tier for patreon.com/the keyhole. You get to come rub Matt Burton's beard.
Yeah.
For good luck.
Personal grooming tips.
He'll be on campus on Saturday. He will be at the franchise stage on Saturday. So join now. Alan Kinney, who you've already heard a few times, but Alan, how things go in our nation's capital?
No. Still occupied by.
Yeah, there looks to be a nice National Guardsman right behind you.
It's I'm not sure if I call this a friendly occupying force or what, but I am not actually in DC proper, so I am not dealing with the assemblage of forces there, but. No, I'm doing great though. Otherwise, I mean, hey, it's football season. I don't really do like the countdown like to the season because it's kind of like, it's like I'm living right now. Like today. You know what I mean? Like we'll think about football season when it comes, but we're a few days away. That's good.
Yeah, I'm usually kind of the same way, but that that month in between SEC Media Day and the start of the season just drags and drags. And especially from a podcasting standpoint where there is really nothing to talk about. And if there is ever anything to talk about, it's not good. Someone's been hurt. Someone's been arrested. And fortunately for OU, that didn't really happen at all, except for some nicks and bruises and a concussion here and there. We'll get to some other injuries that Brent Venables discussed or chose not to discuss. He pleaded the fifth at the press conference today. We'll get to that a little bit later. First, I wanted to give a shout out to our lovely, lovely sponsors. We are, I guess, Home Field Apparel is the exclusive apparel sponsor of Through the Keyhole, homefieldapparel.com. You already know who they are. I don't need to tell you a zillion times. Go to their website, go get you some new OU stuff, because if I see you, you can't look trashy. If I'm going to see you at on Saturday, we're in the SEC. I don't want to see it's kind of an OU shirt. It's like, no. You go spend the money, because I know Keyhole listeners are affluent and well-to-do. So you go spend your hard-earned money at Home Field Apparel. Go buy yourself a nice vintage shirt. Go get something with the Disco OU on it. I've got something with the Disco OU on it right now. So go do yourself a favor and do that. Also, for those deciding whether or not you want to go to the Temple game for your one, if you only go to one road game a year, make it Temple, because Home Field Apparel will be doing a pop-up shop somewhere within the greater vicinity of Philadelphia. The early odds on favorite, I think, is Jalen Hurts' garage. So, everyone just go, just kind of go to Jalen Hurts' house, and maybe Home Field Apparel's many employees will be there setting up the shop. But it's either Jalen Hurts' house. I mean, I guess
the one with the squat rack in the backyard,
is that the legendary squat rack? And Jalen Hurts is like, who are you? Something like that. If you wear a CeeDee Lamb jersey, he won't see you. So just whoa! I like Jalen. I like Jalen, but how many times was CeeDee Lamb just standing there all by his lonesome? A lot is the answer. It's okay. It's okay. But thank you to our friends at Home Field Apparel for taking care of us, taking care of our listeners, and a patron who got the Platinum Box a few weeks ago, Mr. Braylon. Shout out to you once again.
Which we're working on getting that delivered, Braylon. So if you're listening to this, we're working on getting that delivered.
Yeah, Peyton, you've not been on for the last few weeks, so I didn't know. I assumed that was already good and good. But oh well, it's in transit or in the process of being in transit. It will be taken care of.
Yeah, we have to remember they're still, even though they seem large to us, they're still a pretty small brand, holistically, and they're just having and it's that Platinum Box weekend. I think they said it's about 60% of their business is that launch weekend. So it's just a lot of content, a lot of material being shipped out by 4 people.
Go help them out. And, maybe for the $20 tier, Peyton Guthrie himself will Forrest Gump that son of a bitch to your house. He will run and run in those pretty white and red Nikes of his, which you don't run in Nikes, do you?
Yeah, I exclusively run in Nikes. I'm probably one of the only people who do.
Oh, okay. Well, Home Field Apparel, if you guys make shoes, Peyton Guthrie will wear them. So look out for that in the future. Also, we want to welcome back our old friends at the Spirit Shop in Norman for jumping back on as the season is about to kick off on Saturday here in Norman. Family-owned, local favorite beer, wine, and spirit shop, and hence the name, the Spirit Shop. You can find them on 109 South Berry Road, just a few minutes from campus on Main Street, across the street from, I think it's a Walgreens or a CVS. It's Oklahoma, so either guess is good. If you're from the area, you've seen it a zillion times. But it is the go-to place for pregame, postgame, and every celebration, serving Norman and Sooner Nation since 1976. You'll hear the promo, probably not on this one, Matt, since I already said it, but in future episodes, you won't have to hear me talk about it. So you'll hear it in the promo or in the ad later on. So don't worry. To our lovely, lovely listeners. But again, delivery. So if you run out of something to drink on game day, they will drive it right to you. They will drive it to the general vicinity of where you are if it's in an area on campus where they can't really get to. And trust me, I work in Norman, and when I go to lunch, I see those Spirit Shop Batmobiles driving around like it's no one's business. I see 2 or 3 a day. So they're working. So they will They will bring you your Everclear. They will bring you your Pinot Noir. Alan, what do you drink on game day?
Oh, great question. Brown liquor normally.
They will bring Alan's brown liquor to you. Matt, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking the South Oval Lager.
Oh, I like what you did there. They'll bring that to Peyton. Do you drink at all anymore?
Not very often. When I do drink, it's Double Maker's Neat.
Don't bring that too. Why not? So Spirit Shop, we love them. And of course, Kaizen Performance Gym in Norman. So when you've had a little too much, good food and good drinking on Saturday, Kaizen Performance Gym in Norman, that's where you want to go to basically tell yourself and your body, I'm sorry for that. I won't do it again, except for until next Saturday. But it's okay. One day a week is fine. Kaizen Performance Gym in Norman is your place to go. And then our title sponsor, the Choctaw Nation, which we greatly, greatly appreciate that. Peyton, I didn't want to say this was not the Choctaw Nation. I believe this was run by the Chickasaw Nation. Here in Norman. There was something called the Red Clay Roots Festival. It was like a little music festival that got put on at the Standard by the Chickasaw Nation. And it was actually pretty neat. I had to go cover it for work, and they I think her name was Tasha. If I get that, if for some reason she's listening, which I don't know why, but if for some reason I got your name wrong, I apologize. But she was really sweet. She was awesome. She helped us out a little bit, gave us some information about what was going on with the festival, but run by the Chickasaw Nation. And basically in between bands, she would come out and talk about code talkers from World War I, because I think her great grandfather was a code talker. So
that would be Choctaw. At that point in time.
Well, see, that's what confused me, was maybe it was run by the Chickasaw Nation, and she just happened to have that personal connection to Native American history, obviously. But she did ask me, all this to say, she did ask me, do you know how to say hello in Choctaw? And I said, halito, because of you. Because whenever you write your articles, that's how you'd open them up.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, which speaking of when Peyton writes articles, you can look forward to more of his written work this week on keyholepod.com. That's the free website where you can find Peyton stuff, Blatant Homerism, Alan Kinney's weekly column. That one just dropped earlier this morning. So go check that out, everybody. We're going to be pumping out all the stuff, whether it be on keyholepod.com or patreon.com/throughthekeyhole, which again, we're still doing, right, Peyton? We're doing it for the next week. The promo code discount?
Yes, yeah, until the end of August. So when you sign up for the first time, you use the code Keyhole, you get 25% off that first thing. And we've got it set up now to where it's set your monthly payment is set up on the day you sign up. So if you sign up on the 15th, you'll pay every 15th. You sign up on the 9th, you'll pay every 9th. It's no longer the top of the month every single time. So that's help give some flexibility to our listeners. And then also just, have some fun. Come join us. Come hang out. We put a lot of content out there, especially during football season. There's a lot of stuff coming out. I've got a Illinois State Redbird blogger interviewing with him tomorrow to get something up there about the opponent preview tomorrow as well over on Patreon. So go check it out. Go join it. And as Brady's already said, we're kicking off the season here, so we apologize. We're kind of rambling about all the things we offer and everything, but this is when the season starts, when people start listening. So we want everyone to know and have a good understanding.
Yeah. And, speaking of your podcast to come on Patreon with the Illinois State blogger, which, all the respect and love to him for jumping on with us later this week. But I'll give a shout out to one of the kids on Red Dirt Sports' Discord, because I popped in just like for the first time in a long time earlier today. And you had mentioned that you were going to have this person on. Do you guys have any questions? And the only thing that I saw was my question is, what does he do for a day job? Hey, it's hate week, and right now I hate Illinois State, so it's all in good fun. It's all in good fun. It's going to be fine. But yes, patreon.com/thekeyhole. Monday post. My Monday post is up. Friday post. You can look forward to that. Alan, you're still doing picks? Try not to suck, correct?
Yes, that will be hopefully every Thursday.
So join now. We're dangerously close to the century mark on Patreon. So,
and if you haven't joined on, we got the college pick'em coming up. I'll go and tag that post at start. So if you sign up today or tomorrow, to kind of get in before those Thursday games, Join the pick'em. $100 first place, $50 second place, third place. You're fired. No, $25. So go check us out over there if you want to do it. Another little incentive to come hang out with us.
We're here to have fun. And the fun began officially today with the press conference of one Brent Venables. But it also kind of started yesterday with the funky little depth chart that got put out to the world. There's a lot to kind of unpack. And I think let's just go ahead and say this with the full understanding. The depth chart is not real. What you saw was not real. It is not to be taken seriously. Now that I've said that, and Alan, I want to start with you since you put the note on the Google Doc here right in front of me. Having said that, when as a fan, speaking for fans, when you don't have a spring game, when you get everything taken away from you as a fan, that used to be kind of a part of the tradition of liking college football. When you continuously get asked to like renew your season tickets and join this NIL and no, not that one, join this NIL and please do this. And hey, you can come play golf with Jim Nagy for the low price of $2,000. You broke son of a bitch. Like, come on here and come do it. When all that gets thrown at you and stuff gets taken away, and the first thing that we see officially is a depth chart with a bunch of propaganda on it, internal propaganda. Alan, I'm sorry. Like, I'm going to interpret this in one way only. The public's getting used, and I don't like it because we just get stuff taken away. We have to give more and more and more to just even be around the stadium. And it's like, I'm going to put Javonte Barnes and Torrey Blaylock ahead of Jade Knott. Or I'm going to put an or only at right guard or on every position on the offensive line except right guard because I want to try to motivate people. For the fans that got upset about it, I'm like, please be upset. If you weren't upset, that's fine too. But Alan, like, it's just I'm really tired of this silliness that is college football as it stands right now with depth charts and shit.
Are you ready for the new era of sports in Oklahoma? Want to be ready for some real Southern football? Kaizen Performance in Norman, Oklahoma is your spot for physical and mental growth. By empowering a lifestyle of constant, continuous improvement, Kaizen Performance's gym experience lends itself from the experienced training fanatics to those who want to make a positive change in their lives and everyone in between. Come see their new location at 158 Armstrong Court in Norman, Oklahoma. With experienced trainers who understand that every client has individual desires and needs, in-person and online customized training programs and nutrition plans, Kaizen Performance has everything to offer for you to meet your goals. Again, their new location is 158 Armstrong Court, Norman, Oklahoma, 73071. Seriously, Brady works out there, and so does Peyton when he comes to home games. Come work out with us and get ready for the week-to-week grind of real Southern football. Kaizen Performance, Norman's own local gym where your goals are a workout away.
Oh, clearly this is a messaging document. This is specifically to show, who it was that was really kind of showing out, I guess, in preseason practices. And I mean, I guess the other thing is like, it's the depth chart, for game one. I mean, my guess is stuff like Jade Knott running third string has something more to do with the amount of time he spent not participating in preseason practices and what kind of workload I expect we'll see from him in the first game. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I'm more interested in seeing OU win than worrying too much about a depth chart. But you're right in the sense that, like, it's been a very kind of just mysterious off season, for lack of a better word, just because we haven't seen anything. And so I don't, I mean, I guess I can understand the frustrations. I would save it maybe more for like, if they're really sucking against Michigan or something like that. But, I mean, I get it. Like, just, feeling, I don't know, just it's hard to kind of get excited about depth chart when you're looking at three different people as potential starters at will linebacker when everybody knows Kip Lewis is the number one guy there.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's just kind of insulting to my intelligence, what little intelligence I might have as a football fan. I mean, especially kind of not necessarily the same thing, but connected to this. Like we're in an era now where we get injury reports during the week leading into a game. And yet Brett Venables at his press conference is like, I'm not going to update you on Eli Bowen and Kendall Daniels. It's like, okay, they're not kids anymore, and stop this crap. Like, if we can't watch practice, if we can't have a spring game, if we have nothing for 8 months, I'm sorry. This is kind of a part of it because like the game is transitioning to a professional setting. OU is modeling itself, and they'll be the first ones to tell you this. They're trying to model themselves like as a professional football organization. And yet they're in some respects like, no. This is college football and I want to do well by the kids. They're kids. It's like, no. They make more money than me. Please, enough with this crap. Are they going to play or not? No, then we won't ask you again. And I say we, because I mean, I'm not in the media anymore, but for goodness sake. Real quick, Peyton, before I get to you, I'll just read off some of the bullet points and feel free to jump on like anything that kind of tickles your fancy. So like I already mentioned I knew that was going to screw me up. Kendall Daniels and Kendall Dolby. Good catch on that one, Alan. I assume that was you. Jaron Kanik is tight end one at least for game one against Illinois State on the depth chart. Michael Boganowski has been listed as the starter for the first game. Michael Fasusi is the first name on the list for left tackle, but there is a giant or right next to his name with Jacob Sexton right under him. The only offensive line spot, I already said this, without an or is right guard, and that's everyone's favorite Febechi Wiwu over true freshman Ryan Foje. There's no or there. It is just straight up Febechi over Foje. Javante Barnes, Torrey Blaylock are your starting running backs with Jade Knott as an or. And that's apparently due to just availability during fall camp. So that makes sense. Another thing that kind of jumped out to me personally was Keontez Lewis as the starting X and Ivan Carrion as second string. And I was just excited to see Ivan Carrion's name that high on a depth chart because I truly want him to be good. I truly think he can be good and helpful to this offense. So I was happy to see that. And the other big thing, I think, Peyton, Cortland Guillory, true freshman, starting cornerback. We've heard good things about him during fall camp, but again, it's a true freshman opposite of a healthy for the moment Gentry Williams. So when you see the depth chart yesterday and you shared it with us in the Discord, what jumped out to you as an OU podcaster person?
As an OU podcaster person, obviously, Barnes leading the way there just felt totally like a troll job. But I mean, you have to break it down when you think about health, especially how they talked about it. After that was talking about health and everything from that side of being like, hey, these are the guys who probably will just play. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're not going to put Ott, who we believe is going to be the starter at the moment. He's completely cleared to go like 100% as number one, but then just play somebody else. So I think from this side of it, the guys you're seeing on the top line will be the guys who play. And that could be due to, being nicked up, being banged up through camp and stuff like that. So I'm not too worried about that on that side. The only thing that really jumps out of my mind are all the ors. Again, this is everything. But I do think with the flexibility of this defense and the structures they can play in here, that will be very interesting. The will, when Kip Lewis comes in, when Kendall Daniels plays that role, when he's in the cheetah, when Reggie plays cheetah, stuff like that, when they kind of move those guys around from an even or an odd front, to me, that just would be very, very interesting how it goes on that. And I guess like the rural one that's kind of really sticking out for all of us is, I guess it just means, unless something crazy happened in camp, I guess it means this tight end just won't be a factor for OU this year.
Why? Because a 6'2" linebacker's playing tight end and starting? What? Why?
I mean, he's super athletic, and maybe you could do some stuff with him. He's leaking out, but I just don't know if there's any like real structural components you can get out of that tight end room at this point in time.
Yeah, Matt, I think I was listening to you guys before I jumped on my radio spot yesterday, and I think you were just reading off text from listeners because
They handled it in stride. Yeah.
Clearly, you were just like, please get to the next break. So let's go to the phones. And someone had mentioned, and I guess in response to everyone's aghast response that Jaren Kanik's your starting tight end. Well, he tore it up in high school on offense, and I'm like, I don't give a damn what you did in high school.
Yeah, you know who else did? Every other person on this OU roster.
Yeah,
tore it up in high
Many of whom don't even have scholarships.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. He was a beast at Hayes, Kansas in high school.
Fast.
Brady,
Like,
you're not thinking of that.
that's the thing. Like, whenever he has played linebacker and gone through the wrong gap or over pursued, he's fast. Like we all see that. So if he's able to run crisp routes, get open in the SEC, catch the football, like I'm sure he can do something with it. Like Austin Stogner, I mean, was nothing to write home about his last year at OU, but the 7, 8, or 9 times OU Dylan threw to him, he did catch the football, and it was typically for, a good little gain, a first down, just because of his route where he was running. So if Kanik can at least replicate that and then turn around and do something with it, cool. But he's 6'2". So we're just going to have to see. I mean, do any of you guys expect like a red herring performance where maybe they force the issue to Kanik to either make Michigan think twice of like, do we really have to do something about this, or no? Like, are you guys expecting this to be like the Kanik game? I mean, the Temple game was his game last year.
No, I don't expect this to be the Kanik game for this. I think, again, just looking at this, this is spring game. I really hate to be this way against the Redbirds, who were 10-4 last year, went to the playoffs, FCF level. I mean, it's a good football team for the level they play at. But for Oklahoma, this is a spring game. It will be interesting to see how they use the tight end within its alignments. I think that will be more interesting to me than exactly who is playing. There's Arlo. Well, somebody else.
Arlo. Come on now. We're podcasting.
Yeah, no, I'm with Peyton in terms of the. I'm much more interested in how they're lining Kanik up and where, as opposed to how often he even catches the ball. Honestly, those are. I mean, I've never seen the guy throw a block, and I can't imagine that they're going to use him much as an inline tight end. So, but put stuff on film, I guess, maybe for Michigan to look at.
Yeah, like in the SEC, I'm not confident until he shows it. Like maybe he will, because you can be undersized and just be kind of a freak. And Jaren Kanik does have some freak to his athletic nature. Again, he's super fast. He kind of plays with a reckless abandon that I think football people enjoy. I enjoy it. It's just a shame that he was learning a new position and just the light bulb never came on. But now he's going to be playing, I guess, somewhat of a new position, because Matt, did he play quarterback or running back in high school? Was he running back?
I think he kind of did a bit of everything. Like they just needed him to do everything, basically.
So he was their Austin Box, rest in peace.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, clearly the light bulb came on for Austin on the football field. So it doesn't mean it can't for Kanik at a different position. I mean, I hope so. I mean, it worked for Blake Bell, but Blake Bell is also 6'12" and devastatingly handsome, deep blue eyes, great sideburns, beat Notre Dame in South Bend. He has a lot of great assets to his game. Yeah, I'm just not confident he'll be able to block in the SEC, let alone get open. But again, we're going to find this out. Guys, we've talked a big game about Michael Fasusi. We've all been very excited for his addition into the program. We've heard Bill Bedenbaugh, Brent Venables over the last few weeks in fall camp kind of hint at it went from like people that had inside, access to the program, like the Gabe Eichert experience, would just kind of gush about what Michael Fasusi looked like in pads. And it's like, that's where we started from. It's like, okay. And then the next thing we know, he's getting some reps with the ones. You'd hear that from the media that would go to these practices. Then you start to hear that from Bill Bedenbaugh that, no, he's going to play. Is he going to start? That we're going to find out in the next few weeks. And lo and behold, on the first depth chart, guys, Mike Fasusi is right there as the first name listed because, again, he's got an or next to his name. But, I mean, thoughts on a true freshman starting at left tackle for an offensive line that has a lot of questions to answer, Alan? Because in a weird way, I'm not as – if you said that sentence out loud, basically in any given year, it would kind of send me into a panic mode. But for whatever reason, maybe I'm wrong. I don't feel an inch of panic for this.
I think that with Fasusi, he has the highest ceiling, right? He's got the best physical traits of anybody that's competing for that position. I think that, for OU to really be at its best late as the season wears on, you need to get Fasusi contributing. You need to get him in that spot. If OU was playing a team besides Illinois State on this weekend on Saturday, maybe I'd feel a little bit differently if this was a conference game or something like that, where you need to get a guy like you can't afford any mistakes, I guess would be the best way to put that. In this case, though, like, get him in there if he's available, see what he can do, and get him ready for better the better competition that's coming down the line. Now, to be fair, he's going to be seeing better competition practice every day than what he'll get versus Illinois State. But there's something to be said for just getting your feet wet, knowing what it's like to be out there with the lights on, all that kind of stuff, and do a dry run for next week.
How long has it been since we've been able to say something like that? An offensive lineman at OU is not seeing better talent for the most part than they see in practice. It's a beautiful thing to say out loud. Peyton, I want to get your thoughts on this because you're a big proponent of, will they just move people around? Well, this is a position to watch if this kid can just simply push, albeit a talent deficient team in comparison to OU. If he can push them around, that's a great first start. It wasn't that long ago, 10 years ago, Orlando Brown started as a true freshman, and they played UTEP or was it Akron in 2015 in Baker's first game as the quarterback. And then they go on the road against Tennessee, and Michigan probably has better defensive line talent right now than Tennessee did, but Tennessee had some dudes on that defense. And you still went in there with a true freshman left tackle in Orlando Brown. And not only did they win, but you kind of felt good about the offensive line moving forward after that game. So, what are you going to be looking for whenever Fasusi's on the field, Peyton, that would kind of make you feel like, okay, he checked the first box, now go pass the test against Michigan next week?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just desperately trying to find the Illinois State depth chart so I can see some weight and sizes.
They're small. Yeah.
They're small.
you just want to see him. Jackson Arnold last year, again, this is a Jackson Arnold thing, was receiving a lot of pressure, right? Last year in the opener against Temple. And Temple is a big, theoretically a step up over where this Illinois State team should be, just talent-wise from that side of it. So I want to be able to see just keeping the quarterback clean, having some open running lanes. I would expect it to be a little muddied, especially if you're really looking at it where you've got your second and third string guy going off on running back, because if Jade Knott's supposed to be the real number one, and you just want to see them have a clean pocket, get a push, allow these running backs to get some movement before they have to take on contact or before they have to start making cuts and stuff. I don't think that is. It feels weird to even talk about it. It's FCS school. OU theoretically, Mateer should have an extremely disgustingly bad stat line that you should never have to throw the football. It should just be hand the ball off. We run it 50 times. We're winning by 30. So I think it will be a boring game for OU fans, to be honest with you. There's zero reason for Ben Arbuckle to do anything. There's zero reason for it to do a zone read. There's zero reason to do any of this stuff. If Oklahoma has to do anything of that nature, I think that could be troubling. But I do think there's a difference between have to do it versus Michigan week 2. Let's toss some weird stuff that we're never actually going to run just to kind of get them thinking about something. Again, you need to be looking at this as a practice. No disrespect intended, I guess. But you need to be looking at that and just saying structurally and systematically, how is Oklahoma moving the football and how are they attacking the opposing the offense? I'm just going to keep repeating that part of it, because if Oklahoma can't push these guys around, shut it down. Fire Brent tomorrow. It's like you're gonna have to move on, but don't book your flights to Miami if Oklahoma wins 70-0 quite yet. I mean, this should just be a complete rollover team for Oklahoma.
Open question for everybody, because it's just a blind assumption I make, because Illinois State, they're like 4th or 5th in their
6th in the FCS.
Yeah,
in the FCS. So I mean, I'm going to assume that in comparison to Temple, Peyton, because you had just mentioned that Temple is more talented because they're an FBS program compared to Illinois State, and that's probably true. We'll just agree that that's true. Is there something to be said about maybe Illinois State being better coached and being kind of I don't know. It's a spring game, yes, but it's a heightened spring game, so there are things that you can look for, just like there are things that we've mentioned before when we found out we weren't getting a spring game that you can look for in a spring game. So, I mean, yeah, they're not as good. You should kick their ass. But is there something to be said about playing a team that's at least well coached? I mean, you can learn some things there. I mean, if you have players that are undisciplined on your roster, or a linebacker playing tight end for the first time, I mean, I'm sure you can find some things out on film, but am I wrong in assuming that? Or,
I mean, no. I mean, Brock's back. I mean, he's done good. He's done well there. I think he's been coach for Illinois State for 17 years now. Has a 600 winning percentage. So, nothing earth shattering playing against competition of that level. But did play well last year. 10-4 last year. You have to assume they've got some. They're going to try to do some stuff to test OU. I don't think it's going to be how that Arkansas State game went, where they just try to play just a normal football game. If I was Brock, I'd just hang it out and try to do some stuff and try to move around. It's a check game. They know it's a check game. That will actually be the one of the questions I have for the Redbirds blogger, saying like, why did they take this game? Especially if it's a team that, if it's a team that in all likelihood seems to be playoff worthy and contending for a playoff spot in FCS, why potentially take on a team like this if you get beat up, or I mean, it could take them a couple of weeks if they kind of get banged around or something like that, and really kind of immediately mess up their playoff chances if they have a couple of guys go down to injuries or something. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how Brent and Ben respond if Brock's, I think it's back, Brock's back, tries to test them in any way. It'll be interesting to see.
I mean, they've got, I watched some of them from last year. They've got, a lot of experience back. The quarterback is solid. Like, they've got the running back looks good. They've got some of them productive receivers back. I mean, it's the kind of thing where they're not going to be like intimidated or anything like that. But it's just, I mean, you look back at last season in their games against like quality opponents, like aside from blowing out Keontez Lewis and the Southern Illinois Salukis. I mean, they lost.
Revenge game.
Yeah, they lost to Iowa 40-0. They lost North Carolina State 42-10. They lost Missouri State 41-7 and UC Davis 42-10. I mean, those are the best teams they played last year, and so.
OU needs to score 60 then, because we were frankly too Iowa-ish last year, and not on purpose. So I don't want to associate myself anymore with their offense. So score more than Iowa did last year against Illinois State. Matt, I didn't get your thoughts. That's my bad as a host. I'm a bad point guard.
You're good. I have none. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
I mean, you only talked about it for 3 hours yesterday, and probably a little bit today.
Right.
I mean, did any like, whether it be like we've already talked about Susie a little bit, anything else kind of jump out to you, or something that you really wanted to talk about that maybe you couldn't say on the radio? Maybe with an F-bomb kind of connected to it. Anything at all?
No, not really. I didn't have any huge takeaways. I will say, not like a not like a huge like wow factor, but I take this as a good thing. I mean, Peyton Bowen is there starting strong safety with no or next to his name after we heard a lot about Reggie Powers, Boganowski, Hardy, all those young safeties, and shows, I think, to me, a good end to the camp for Peyton Bowen. So I think that's really what you want to see. And to Alan's point earlier, I mean, like Robert Spears Jennings having an or next to his name with Michael Boganowski, and then Kip Lewis having an or with Owen Heineke and Kendall Daniels. Like, come on, what are we doing? What are we doing here? It feels a lot to me like, yeah, these guys are going to play, but just not that much. Like they're going to go out there, run around, get some good cardio in, hopefully not get injured, and they'll be playing a lot against Michigan week 2.
Real quick, is this true?
If it's on the internet, then yes.
White women now have their own official holiday, August 26th. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce get engaged, and the release of the pumpkin spice latte at Starbucks. Is that really dropping today?
Wait, we're already at pumpkin spice season, man. Like, really?
I mean, yeah, isn't it already kind of like fall on the East Coast, Alan? I just always assume that it's constantly scenic weather over there.
No, but it is. I mean, it is quite nice right now, which is out of the ordinary. But no. I mean, like last year this time, it was blazing. So yeah, no, it's weird though. But like, I did notice some Halloween candy and the displays up in the store and everything. So I guess maybe it is pumpkin spice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to white women.
Yep, shout out to white women. You've earned it. You needed to win.
They needed a win here.
Bad. They needed to win bad.
They've been down bad for
No, yeah, the PSL dropped today. The PSL dropped in the pecan oat milk cortado, man.
And on the first week of college football season. My goodness.
Man, Ole Miss
the 1%
wild down there right now.
The 1 to 5% of this podcast's listenership that is female, they're probably super excited. I would imagine they were excited about one of these two, if not both, but they also get their Oklahoma Sooners to start this weekend. So, what a great week.
Well, they get their day before football season because there's going to be some significant others that ignore them every weekend from here on out until February. So
yeah, everyone hopefully sent in your 2-week notices 2 weeks ago. That's the kind and professional thing to do. I'll be honest, and let's keep increasing the algorithm here. I thought Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce were already engaged. That's my bad. I am not.
Yeah, you're not keeping up with the lore. You're not monitoring the situation. That's
I would like to see that prenup though. I'd love to see that because her net worth starts with a B. By the way, it starts with $1 billion. So
and there's a multi attached to that.
Yeah.
I mean, Travis, he's in the podcast game. He's making that podcast money because
that's true.
He needs. I really wish he had already retired because, and I like Taylor Swift. I like her music. I mean, Peyton, you and your wife got me a Taylor Swift album for my birthday a few years ago. We did. I'm not just saying that. I do like Taylor Swift's music. I don't want to hear anything about her when I'm watching football. And if he had retired, we wouldn't be hearing anything.
Well, dude, since this is for sure his last season in the NFL. By the way.
Yeah, he has been washed for a time. But when you play for the Chiefs or like Gronk with the Patriots when he was on his last leg, like you can get away with it a little bit longer. So good for them. Where were we? Taylor Swift.
Depth chart takeaways. Illinois State.
Oh,
all
yuck.
That stuff. I will say it is interesting when you said not like, I don't know, running up the score. Last year, this is, again, at Washington State. Washington State did not have a good defense. But they put up 70 in week 1 against Portland State.
Yeah.
But they gave up 30 points to Portland State, which hopefully that's not the case for Illinois State this week. But yeah, not only that, like John Mateer threw for 352 yards in their first game. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but their second game, they did play against Texas Tech last year, and that's when John Mateer ran it like 21 times, I think. He had 21 carries in that game, so I don't know, a little interesting.
Tech just ran drop 8 the whole game, and I mean, he would look at it and just go.
Yeah, 21 carries for 197 rushing yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
The stat line for the entire game for John Mateer in that game against Texas Tech looked like what was his name? Cody Thomas's stat line
Yeah.
against Texas Tech in 2014, where Heupel decided we're not throwing like after halftime. It's just P. Ryan. I think he had like 280 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, it was sick. Yeah.
Yeah, Pete Ryan was. We miss him. We miss him. I mean, any thoughts? Anybody about? I mean, Matt, you had already mentioned Peyton Bowen. Where are we with Peyton? We were very excited for him coming out of high school, five-star freshman. We were very excited for him even after his freshman year. I mean, missed some time due like nagging, I think a hamstring injury at the time. I can't remember. But we were still excited because whenever he was healthy and able to play, the dude he was just a magnet to good plays and making big plays. So in between that time and now, it's just been a whole lot of inconsistency, not being healthy, not being available. So, I mean, where are we with him? Are we still hopeful that he can be every bit the player that he was billed to be coming out of high school? I mean, Jay Vly and was it Jay Vly that spoke highly of him like a week ago with Matt? Was it him? Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what he said. But yeah.
He said something about it's time for the Bowen brothers to ball or something like that, which would be great. But I mean, he hasn't practiced in a fortnight. But I mean, Alan, where are you with Peyton Bowen? Are you hopeful for greatness, for all conference, all American level, which is what you expect when you get a 5-star in your program, or are you more hopeful of please just be solid?
Great question. I mean, to me, I call this a messaging document. You know, this is the one thing though where I looked at it and I said, okay, like this is actually a good thing. It's a sign because I mean, clearly the staff is very high on Reggie Powers. Just you know, it's pretty obvious, and the idea that Bowen beat him out. You know, I mean, I think that it sounds like Powers did enough to put a lot of heat on Bowen, and you know, Bowen winning that job. You know, I mean, I know he's in his 3rd year. He's a 5-star. It shouldn't be. You don't want it to be a thing where there's like any kind of question about it. But I mean, at the same time, I think that it's a really good sign for him going forward. Is he going to be an All-American? No. I mean, you know, he could though. You know, be an all-conference type player and really kind of set himself up. I'm assuming for a bigger senior year next year.
I mean, Peyton, agree, disagree with that. I mean, I want to believe in Peyton, and I want to believe that he was just simply here at a time where OU had an entrenched all-star caliber player starter in Billy Bowman, like on the team already. And his lack of availability just kind of has double resulted in we've not seen what we were kind of promised with him coming out of high school, but now he's got a clean platform to kind of ball out. So that's what I'm hoping for. Or are you in a more realistic spot than me?
No, I mean, yeah, you had Billy Bowman, who I believe is a starter for the Falcons right now.
Yeah.
Or I believe so at least. And then you had Robert Spears Jennings, who people were talking about for, you know, a decent chunk of the season as like an all SEC type safety. I mean, you know, some of the stuff he was doing there. So I think it's fine that he wasn't at the top line and then he was, you know, kind of banged up from that side of it. I think there's some stuff around him that kind of dampens down fan experience about him. And that's like some fumbles on punts and stuff like that to where it kind of creates like a negative vibe around him. I know that was one of the things when people just talk about the punt returners and stuff, because Peyton Bowen still listed as the second, but what they're, you know, once it's like, oh man, somebody else is returning punts, thank God. So I think, you know, the times you remember him, he was muffing a punt, he's something like that. And it wasn't like a consistent down to down player. If you look at how college football used to be, and I'm a little bit about this, if we're going to really boost up the algorithm, similar to what's happening down in Austin, there's a lot of people like, oh no, they're only just now starting on their 3rd year on campus. Well, that's what college football used to be. You wanted them to get on the field by their 3rd year. And then it's like, all right, we've got them real good for 2 years. You got a factory line that kind of rolls through stuff. We're only just, you know, we're still pretty new into the whole oh, they weren't starting as a freshman. We got to cut them because they're NIL deal. We'll bring somebody else in. I mean, we're turning rosters over much quicker than we used to be. But there's a developmental phase of college football that seems to be missing, at least at the top part of the sport, to where it really doesn't bother me to see somebody like him show out and kind of grow. You know, I want to eat some potentially. Maybe I'll have to. Maybe Red Dirt Sport will have to as well. You know, technically listed as a starter via the or. You got David Stone sitting there. I mean, right? I mean, you've got these guys who we're all very quick to say day one they didn't just blow the world away like like JJ did in the middle of the defensive line, and maybe thinking it's taking some time for these guys to kind of grow into it, right? I mean, you're hearing a lot of good vibe out of Marvin Jones Jr., and I really thought he'd just be an also guy, depth guy, basically. Starting line, you're just hearing like how he's just like ripping apart the offensive line. So maybe it just takes time.
That's the hope. That's hope with Peyton Bowen. That's the hope with a few of these players. And some of these players, you know, they haven't had really that much time because, again, Cortland Guillory, true freshman. We got a true freshman starting cornerback until Eli Bowen gets here, which, again, I mentioned that at the top of the show or once we started talking about the footballs. Kendall Dolby, Eli Bowen, their status is just kind of up in the air. I was checked out from the news for the last few weeks, guys, but I don't recall Kendall Dolby being a game time decision question person or a injury person. I thought he was kind of back and past his injury and his recovery. So that was kind of a bummer to hear about that. Now we're going to have to ask about not only Eli Bowen, but Kendall Dolby for the, however many weeks in the future. And did anybody ask about Giovanni Gibson? Matt, did anybody ask?
No, not that I heard.
Yeah. He's not listed on the depth chart either as well, but it seems like, Stoya mentioned a few weeks ago that he wouldn't be shocked if he's back within not this week, but as early as Michigan. He didn't say this, but like the impression I got from him whenever he was talking about it was maybe Michigan if everyone's happy and lucky, but probably definitely before the end of September. So Auburn, Temple is what.
Yeah, that's the only thing I've heard is you're circling Auburn for those guys. It's from my understanding.
Yeah.
Okay. All righty then. So some of the kids got to grow up pretty quick. Please, please, please. By the way, what are your thoughts on the depth chart? What are your thoughts on some players? I know there's going to be a lot of people that think I'm being too harsh on our good friend Jaron Kanik. I think last week was the first week that we didn't get one comment, one question on Spotify, and I think months. So maybe everyone's kind of taking a personal week because the crazy train's about to start. And I completely understand that, but go to Spotify. If you listen to our show on Spotify, you can leave comments and questions right there. Do that. We respond, and sometimes we'll talk about it on the show, and we always appreciate whether you're hating on us or agreeing with us or just asking a genuine question. We welcome anything. So go Spotify, go check that out. And also Apple Podcast. Can't ask questions there, but you can leave a comment or a rating or a review. Excuse me. You can leave a rating and a review. Please leave a 5-star rating.
Yeah, let us
Please
know
do.
your guess for the Toby Keith song.
Oh, God. Have they confirmed that crap yet?
I don't know about the song, but my assumption is that that's going to continue. And then also, if you're there early for the game, go check out what is now being dubbed. I did not know it had a name until I got the chance to review some video content about it. Go check out the Warrior Walk. There's a cool little video about it. That release scene's got some Choctaw ties to it, and I think James Winchester is providing the voiceover for that. If you don't know what that is, that's when the team, I think they walk from the 25-yard line to the end zone or something, interlocked hands with Brent Venables.
The Ohio State thing? I always that was always
Ohio
like
State, that happens. That's when they come out to the field. This is like pregame or something. They pray on the field and then they lock hands and they walk to the locker room. But it's called the Warrior Walk, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah, go check it out. If you're in the stadium very, very early.
There are a lot of people there. I do wonder because a lot of people, and you know who you are, a lot of people, did they already take away Crazy Train? Did they already take that away? Like when the players are warming up and then Crazy Train comes on the speakers and then they all kind of like run to the midfield and jump up and down. And then they run into the locker room for the last time before they come out to go play the game.
That's the Warrior Walk now.
please incorporate Ozzy.
They all hold hands. They all hold hands and they walk to the locker
Play
room.
Mama, I'm coming home. Come on, give Ozzy a shout out, man. If we're gonna be giving Toby Keith a shout out, I mean, God, can we please move away
And
from
the strong Oklahoma ties of Ozzy Osbourne.
Hey, I mean, hey, man, he's the Prince of Darkness. His kingdom knows no bounds. Yeah, I'm sure some people will be happy with the Toby Keith thing. I mean, I'll admit I had fun during the Alabama game when they played it, but that's because we were winning. I was having more fun because of the game, and they played a song that I happened to have the words shoved down my ears for 20 years, so I knew it. Anyway, moving on. Brent made an interesting comment. Made a very interesting comment. Kind of unprompted, because he just, he did his Brent thing where he just kind of talks and talks and talks. And I don't know if this was okay for him to say, because I just wonder if the suits that are standing next to Brent that are, hoping that, funnel him between that and the media were okay with him saying this. But he had mentioned that, when I got here, we had a bunch of players that failed drug tests, a lot of failed drug tests, had a 2.2 team GPA and some other crap, all that to kind of like paint a better picture of the situation that Brent walked into. Alan, like, it's interesting whenever you kind of like have the veil ripped away from you between like whether you're media or you're a fan only, and you're talking about your favorite college football team or the team that you cover. These are things that, failed drug tests, for instance, these are things that I've just kind of always assumed happen all over the place. But when it's just kind of like thrown at you in the face, it's still kind of jarring. So, I mean, did that comment kind of make your ears perk up a little bit when Brent said him earlier today?
None of it surprised me. I mean, I don't think that. The idea that there was a, lack of cohesion or like
culture problem.
Culture problem at OU. There, especially near the end when clearly Lincoln Riley was pretty checked out. None of that is that surprising. I'm kind of like, why are you doing drug tests though? Like, why are you even bothering? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I think that this is a case though where part of what Venables was selling when he first got the job and all that stuff was kind of a holistic approach to coaching football, right? To not just to building balanced, citizens coming out of the program. So, I'm sure that he does take some measure of pride in all that, but it's also kind of a thing too, where, you say stuff like that and it's not just about like, look what I've done. It's also like, look at what I took over, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you can be elite. Like, this is what I feel like I was actually hired to do, you know what I mean? And it's not going to help him when it comes time if they don't win enough games, but I mean, it's still something that he's going to want to sell,
But we won more games back then with the culture problem, Alan.
Indeed. So, yeah.
I mean, just because those two things happened at the same time do not mean that they're necessarily connected.
Yeah, let's not conflate the two.
I think you could probably argue, and this is correct, we didn't win enough games because of that culture problem. Like, the games that we lost should not have been lost.
Yeah, I mean, that 2021 season in particular was just
anger inducing.
Game after game after. I mean, it was like 85 players going their own way. It felt like at times. It just. Yeah.
I mean, Pate, when Brent says that, I mean, everybody listens. But again, like Alan just mentioned, like it might not matter if you don't win enough games, but like we've stressed time and time again, whenever the Brent question comes up, I mean, he's fully supported, whether it be by the administration. is he supported by Jim Nagy, at least publicly? Like, yes, right now. Like, but where does he kind of lie in the hierarchy of things? John Hoover did point out on Twitter that in the media guide, and I don't know why, like, it's just because this is a brand new position. So I'm going to choose to read into it like John kind of did. But in the media guide, you have like a Brent Venables profile page. Then the next page is Jim Nagy. And then the next page is the rest of the staff. So Ben Arbuckle, Bates, you know, all them. So, and I will mention the little kickoff event that I went to because it's been in my head. I didn't really think it was anything to share. But when John tweeted that out yesterday, I then kind of put two and two together in my head. But when I was at that little preseason kickoff event, Arbuckle, Brent, and Jim Nagy were on stage talking to the crowd. And both Ben Arbuckle and Brent Venables referred to Jim Nagy as Coach Nagy. And I checked his Wikipedia page again. He has never been a coach. It's just, I don't know. It's just interesting. This is all brand new. But, you know, I guess going back with Brent, Peyton, saying all that stuff, like, I think we all understood at the time when he was hired, right, that he has a lot more to do than just simply fix the defense.
Well, yeah, I think we would probably look at where Brent was, and Alan, I think, spoke to it very, very concisely. The idea he was hired to like coach via like vibe, I guess, to a certain degree. Like, let's fix this place in its entirety, and he's done a pretty good job on that. We've seen him do that. I think we can agree he's a good man, right? I think for however a college football head coach can be a good man, I think we can say that about Brent Venables. Until someone checks his phone records or whatever. But I think potentially, yeah, we can say that he's, you know, the soul mission is very important to him, very important to the program, really trying to take heart of who these players are beyond just their playing ability for the University of Oklahoma. And then he also knows how to put together a damn fine defense. Now, Nagy seems to have come on and taken on the other head coaching stuff, right? The scouting, contracts, handling a lot of the fan expectations, going to a lot of these fan events that coaches normally would have to. And, you know, we're kind of talking about Riley back earlier, the stuff Riley hated going to and hated doing. Now Brent doesn't have to. They've got another guy who goes out there and kind of becomes the public face of the roster or of the program. The Oklahoma has decided to be an NFL football team when it comes down to its hierarchy. Now, they're putting Brent and Nagy on the same level, which is a little different. So usually you get a hierarchy. And I just wonder where, especially they don't have, you know, they have an AD, you know, halfway in, you know, all that kind of stuff. I just wonder, you know, who's going to call the shot at the end of the day. And that might be something that's interesting down the line. But I just don't think we have to worry about it this year. I mean, it does seem like they put the team together. They've got good talent. They've got young talent who is good and who is already put into the top of this depth chart. Oklahoma should be good enough to buy Brent another year.
Yeah. I think we've talked about that. They have the talent to bridge him to another year of like, unless he proves it this year. I mean, I think 8-4, 9-3 would be, 9-3 is different. 8-4 is respectable considering the schedule and what they've had to improve from, but it just basically bridges you to like, okay, now the jury is going to be like we're going to find out this like next year, but I'd rather find out this year, good or bad.
I would say like, I think it was maybe it's Bill Connolly or somebody else. You know, if the schedule is the schedule, I think it's like a top 5 team in the nation, right? Historically. And if this schedule is as difficult as this schedule is, would finish 7-5. So it's like if Oklahoma goes 9-3 or something, that means Oklahoma is like an extremely good football team.
What does that mean, though? Like, I understand the words you said in that sentence, and I know Connolly has like some math equation in his head to produce that sentence, but I'm sorry, like there are a lot of talented teams on our schedule. there are some helmet schools on our schedule. We have no idea who's good or not. And in fact, Tennessee just gave Josh Heupel the fucking Brent Venables extension this year. So are we to believe that they're going to suck this year? And if they do, it's like, well, then suddenly like, oh, you might be in a position where they're a 1 or a 2 loss team going into Knoxville and maybe be favored. And so it's like, that's why all this stuff is kind of silly to me, because the schedule's tough, but if you think they're going to go 8-4 or 9-3, it's just because you think that they happen to be good. But like, it just doesn't make that much sense to me when it's like, oh, then that would mean that they're like a top 5 team of all time. It's like, I mean, no, they're not.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that, like, you know, the way that you really think about it is like certain, like, kind of like stratospheres, you know, within like the distribution of how good teams are, right? But, you know, like a very good team would be 7-5 against this. You know, I think it would, if you're like one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the country, you know, then you're talking more along the lines of like 10-2. I mean, that's kind of saying something. If you're supposed to be the best team in the country and 10-2 is what would be projected, you know, I mean, like, that speaks to how hard it is.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's just a simple stuff where it's like, here's a real simple thing to think about. If let's say Oklahoma was a 90% chance to win every game they play this year, that would equal out to like 11-1, right? I mean, so it's like, I don't think we would think Oklahoma's 90% chance to win every game this year. You know, so I mean, there's certain games in which Oklahoma would be 60%, or against Texas, probably 46, 45% chance to win. I mean, once you look at from that side, once you figure out those odds, you just add them up, and that's how they spit out those numbers. So from that side, so it's just something interesting to look at. It's not a hill to like die on or go run to Vegas about, but it's letting you know Oklahoma will potentially be in games in which you're looking at the margins of how Oklahoma will win these games or lose these games.
And don't worry on that one, because Brent Venables is the head coach.
Well, historically, take the hook. Maybe I don't know. You got Oklahoma's playing some teams. Like, I think Auburn is actually going to be a pretty good football team, just because of the talent involved, and they did a really good job in the portal and everything. But they just said they're going to have a first down coordinator, a second down coordinator, and third down coordinator. So I mean, some of these teams will fuck up themselves without OU having to really help them out. So, you know, in Tennessee's, you know, I mean, if you listen to the Solid Verbal episode I had with Dan, that was his very first correction. He's like, well, we don't know if this schedule is actually hard yet. We think it may be. So I got to play the game still.
I know you were, I mean, I haven't even really got a chance to talk to you about that, Peyton. I know you were excited, since that's your favorite college football podcast, to go talk to him. So that was really cool. I was shocked that he said that, because I'm usually like, when I listen to them, like, he's usually the one I disagree with the most. And I'm like, whoa, he said something that I've been yelling about for the last 4 or 5 months. We have no idea. I said it last
I think because he
off-season.
was on an OU podcast, he was
Probably
more OU friendly.
Probably.
But no, I mean, he's right. I mean, when it comes to Oklahoma, you don't know. You don't know what this offense is going to look like, and you don't know what the schedule is going to look like, because the schedule's running into its own issues.
Oh boy. I mean, Matt, are we, are we, the closer we get to the season, are we a little bit more optimistic than we were, for the last 2 or 3 months? Are you getting like a last little burst of like, maybe like, because look, I know you technically cover Oklahoma, but let's just pretend that they're the Duke Blue Devils basketball team. Like how excited, how optimistic would you be if they were just a rich medical school that played basketball?
Yeah, they which, by the way, go take a peek at Duke's non-conference. It's the opposite of OU's conference schedule, we think. So
it's a laugh out loud fest.
It's great. But anyways, quick Duke aside there. No, for OU, I do think that I am like I'm sticking with my 8-4 prediction right now. But I mean, there is just a lot of unknown now. I feel like I go in waves, right? When it comes to believing in this team or not. I feel like I do that every offseason. But for me, I just looking at the schedule from Texas on, it is just every time I look at it, I'm like, well, There are just so many damn variables that can take place in this stretch throughout the end of this season that you just don't know. Like I saw a little bit earlier that our guy Josh Heupel got a little contract extension just right before the season started. Alan, I loved your tweet of like seen this movie before in different places. So, who knows? Tennessee could take a step back. For whatever reason, the South Carolina buzz has died down. I mean, at the end of last season, it was like, oh, South Carolina, like look for them. And then now, like I'm hearing people be like, yeah, I don't know if they lost a lot on defense, and who knows if Sellers can repeat what he did. Like, so that buzz has kind of died down. I do hate the timing of that game for OU, coming off the Texas game and having to go to South Carolina. I don't know. I'm not a huge believer in Ole Miss. I don't know if Austin Simmons is good, then I think they'll be pretty decent. But if he's not, then I really don't know what Ole Miss is looking like. They lost a lot, especially on that defensive line as well. So I don't know, man. I feel like I'm believing a little bit more in this team. But man, it's so tough coming off these last 3 seasons when, even people want to still point out that, well, he won 10 games in 2023. It's all good. Well, they should have been undefeated going into the Big 12 title game. Like there's no excuses for the game in Stillwater and the game in Lawrence. So, I don't know. We'll see. I feel like I'm on. It happens every year, right? You're excited for football to come around, game weeks around. So the optimism, just you kind of can't help it sometimes. But I'm trying to keep myself grounded by just looking at the schedule.
Oh yeah, but we'll get there when we get there. We got to worry about a bunch of Redbirds this Saturday. But we're almost there. Just a few more days, everybody. Again, keelpod.com, patreon.com/thekeyhole for all the stuff you could possibly need from the 4 of us to get you to that Saturday. Matt, you already said, you already answered this question, but I wanted to get everybody on the record because we have said it, off and on inconsistently throughout our podcasts over the off season. So I wanted this to be like the defining moment. This is where you're going to look back on yourself this time next year, like Alan did last week, where he went back and listened to some old Keyhole podcasts from this time last year. Ooh. And was like, oh no. And then like his hair was like going all over the place and trying to scrub it from existence, but everybody was wrong. When a 5-star bus, it's a surprise to everyone. It happens. Unfortunately, it happened to us. But I've been pretty wishy-washy on my prediction because I even wrote in the Money Post, 9-3 isn't necessarily my prediction. But lo and behold, when I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought about it, I wrote down 9-3 for my prediction. So I am predicting OU to go 9-3. And again, baked into all that is the stuff that OU took care of, John Mateer, Ben Arbuckle, adding players here and there. Those are just going to work. Like, John Mateer is good. Okay, then he's going to be good in the SEC. Ben Arbuckle is like the next great coordinator and the next like desired head coach. Okay, well then he's going to show that this year. And so when you put all that together, OU's going to have a really good team. We all think that the defense and kind of know that the defense is going to be really good as well. And then also coupled with that is I don't think Tennessee's going to be as good as they were last year. I don't think Ole Miss will be. I don't think Missouri will be. And I know everyone's excited about Alabama because of their talent. Their schedule is a little tricky, and Ty Simpson's their fucking quarterback. So I know Alabama has won titles with insert NPC quarterback here, but Nick Saban isn't their head coach, and they're not that talented. They're not as talented as those teams. They're very talented. They're not as talented. So even then, you get LSU at home. You get Michigan at home with a true freshman quarterback. I think that there are just a lot of nice little advantages hidden in our very, very tough schedule. So all that equals, in my opinion, 9-3. Alan, is 8-4 still your call? I mean, based on your blatant homerism.
Yeah. I haven't really seen anything to make me move off that. I think 8-4 is where I land, and I'm kind of with you in the sense that the schedule does look very hard right now. I think a couple of those teams will fall off. A couple might be better, but at the end of the day, I think 8-4 is where I'm going to go.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I think admittedly, based on like with everything I just said, I think Alabama is the most volatile team. I think that they have the highest ceiling, and I think that they have a pretty low floor, because if they lose 1 or 2 games, it could snowball, because a portion of those players did not sign up to play for Kalen DeBoer, and losing 2, 3, 4 games a year at Alabama. So the give up factor could be pretty high if they do lose a few games. Peyton, what is your official preseason prediction?
Yeah, we're gonna roll through that train. I think 8-4 is where it's at. I mean, and the reason why I think about it is Tennessee, South Carolina, Alabama, LSU are all games in which I personally would have Oklahoma as dogs on. You have Tennessee, Ole Miss, and Michigan being potentially toss-up games, and then you have games you should win at that point in time. So having 7 games in which you are either a dog or toss-up games, it's just tough, right? It's just not the schedule OU fans are used to. And that's me downgrading Tennessee some because I mean Oklahoma will be going there. Okay? There's a difference there, and I understand it's like whatever, but home field does play into it. Auburn, this line will change, but last time I checked that line, Oklahoma was favored 2.5 at home, which means I believe that's like a pick 'em on the neutral site potentially. So I mean, Vegas isn't seeing a lot of separation between these two teams, and a lot of OU fans are just kind of hand waving that game off. I think Oklahoma will win it. Jackson Arnold will do some stupid shit and Oklahoma will win, hopefully. But these aren't untalented teams with flawed quarterbacks. These are extremely talented teams with a potential flawed quarterback. And sometimes that can be enough to kind of get you over the hump on that side of it. I don't think that is a bad year. If Oklahoma was 8-4, I do not think it's a bad year, especially if everything shakes out the way it shakes out, how it looks like. But yeah, if LSU's offense doesn't gel, offensive line doesn't gel, and that keeps getting banged around, and hey, maybe OU's looking at 9-3, kind of easily. If Ty doesn't run into it the way they want to, but I had the Alabama blogger on saying he's been performing really well, and then the counterpoint on your side, most of this roster now is signed up for Kalen. They had a lot of departures via the portal, so whoever's there now is there now. Those aren't necessarily saving guys through and through, but I do think Oklahoma's got 4 very, very hard games on that schedule, and then 3 other games in which, can be won via the margins. The Michigan game will be tough. I don't know how to explain it other than that. That's going to be a hard game. They're talented. They've got big guys on defensive line, offensive line. It's going to be a test for Oklahoma to win that game. Now, Oklahoma lucks out because it's a freshman quarterback. If you look at Oklahoma, it's giving kind of that 2015 vibe, where it's like, if they just play a bunch of backups and freshman quarterbacks, the defense looks great. Maybe OU gets the luck out on that side.
It is a tough game. Michigan was not very good last year, and they just have mojo against Ohio State. They played, OU could have been as bad as they were last year. If they played it in a Big Ten schedule, they probably would have at least gone 7-5 and maybe 8-4. They would have lost, clearly to Ohio State. But, if OU's playing Illinois and Northwestern and Minnesota, shout out Grant Benson, Nebraska, I'm sorry, suck-ass OU last year would have had a lot more success. Yeah. So all that to say, if OU wasn't laugh out loud bad last year, I don't know how many people are going to be sitting here right now saying that game's going to be a test. But because OU has to prove that they can get a first down after they get a false start still, because we've not seen them do that since last year, I think we have to kind of de facto say, that's going to be very tough, because Michigan lost a bunch of talent. They have a kid playing quarterback against Brent Venables' defense in his house. So I'm just like, those are typically factors that would go into Michigan's, they could be good, but that's too soon.
Yeah, I do think you're right. I think Oklahoma wins that game. But last year, if you're asking any fan base, you say you get a chance to win against USC, Alabama, and Ohio State, probably take those wins. Yes. You know what I mean? From that side of it. And whatever Bryce Underwood is, he's not going to be worse than they were last year. It's almost the exact same thing as the John Mateer thing. Whatever John Mateer is this year, he will not be as bad as they were last year. And so you have to look at that and say, well, Michigan's offense is just going to be better. Now, how much better is the thing? That is the difference for Oklahoma. How much? Because I think Oklahoma's probably a top 10 defense. I think Michigan's probably a top 15 defense. It's just who improved more quickly on offense than the other. I think it's OU, but it'll be tough.
Was their former quarterback the starter for UNLV against their game against Idaho State last week?
Alex Orji.
He was in a rotation. Yes.
And barely got used. They said they were going to play both quarterbacks, and he did not play that much.
Yikes. Oh, well. Well, we've got 1 9-3 and 3 8-4s. And I'm the 9-3 guy. That's something's wrong.
Which means they'll probably go 9-3.
Yeah, probably go 9-3. No, I think that I take pride in this. You know, I know you guys have probably seen those two kids blogging about Auburn or podcasting about Auburn about being like, well, Jackson Arnold, he's obviously a Heisman contender, and who does Georgia have that really scared you know, stuff like that. I mean, you know, even some OU fans I know. I mean, hope springs eternal right now before game week of game one. I think we have our feet on the ground and we're looking at it with clear eyes, full hearts. 8-4.
You can lose.
Yes, yeah, I think that's something we're saying. But no, I'd love to be wrong. I'd love to see a 9-3.
Well, real quick before we get to our last few topics, guys. I mean, Alan, what does your 8-4 look like, just in your head? Is it an 8-4 where they lose comfortably, or just not necessarily close games in the fourth quarter to the 4 best teams on their schedule, or do they kind of have a big win or two, kind of like showcase that there is a future with this offensive staff and even Brent Venables, but they just kind of do an OU thing and choke a game that they're not supposed to? Like, for some reason, that seems more hopeful to me, that kind of 8-4, than literally losing to the 4 best teams on your schedule, and you just beat the teams you're supposed to and the teams that end up being not as good as they were anticipated to be.
I mean, I see 3 teams at least on the schedule that I think just have better rosters than OU top to bottom: Texas, Alabama, LSU. So, I mean, I have a hard time picking OU against those 3. And then, plenty that where I think they're pretty close to OU. And in those kinds of situations, all it takes is 1 or 2 bad bounces, when the margins are that thin. So, a game like, I don't know, I feel better about Tennessee than I did, but that would be one. For all this, again, like I mentioned, Jackson Arnold, we think of him as like this big time bust, but he played well enough last year for OU to beat Alabama. I mean, the stranger things have happened. That's a super talented team. Something like that, is where I see the other loss coming.
Alan, with all due respect, quick poll of the 4 people here, because I'm going to say no. I mean, was Jackson Arnold an influential piece of that victory against Alabama? My answer is no. The offense that they ran, Michael Hawkins could have run that game. It was just OU's night.
I agree, but what I'm saying is that there was enough talent on OU's side of the ball, on OU's side of the field, pardon me, that, we tell these stories about college football teams through the lens of the quarterback. But, I mean, Drew Pine beat OU, was playing quarterback for Missouri last year. I mean, you don't have to Peyton Thorne took OU down to the wire, quarterbacking Auburn. I mean, it's not just about the quarterback every time is my larger point. And Auburn's got a whole bunch around Jackson Arnold that OU did not have last year.
Yeah. If you look at it only from our very recent past, you would think Auburn's going to go 3-9. I think they probably go 8-4. I mean, it's just they're just a good football team around it. Now, is Hughes Freeze completely checked out? Maybe things change from that side of it that we just can't see. But as Alan said, I mean, you have to see what they did in the portal. Are they this year's Ole Miss? Did they go out and get, upgrade their talent enough to compete at a level to buy everyone some time? And then also, honestly, it's probably Deuce Knight walking into Norman starting.
Could be. Yeah.
I mean, we don't quite know on that side. And his system has been somewhat quarterback independent for a long time.
Fair enough. Matt, what's your 8-4 look like? Similar to Allen's?
Yeah, I don't know if I really phoned it in. I have a tough time seeing them beating Bama at Bama. Sorry guys, and the OU fans listening and everyone. I think Texas is going to be pretty fucking good this year. So, got that one's a tough one. But weirdly, out of some of the games I have them losing, in a weird way, like might be the most winnable, just because that game is so effing weird. Like throughout every first down, every play is a huge momentum swing. So who knows? But no, I'm losing. I got OU losing to Texas, Bama, South Carolina, and LSU that last game of the year. But I mean, I'm not going to speak for every fan out there, but I think it'd be fun for this OU team to be 8-3 going into the last game of the year with maybe something to play for, right? I mean, then LSU probably have something to play for as well. Like, I mean, if OU goes 9-3, but has losses to Bama, Texas, and South Carolina, but let's say they do win that last game. You have wins over, LSU, Tennessee, Ole Miss, like some really good wins. Like, I don't know, maybe that they'd be in the conversation for the playoff. I don't know if they get in, but they'd at least have a pretty damn good resume at that point. And I don't know, I think a game in Norman, under the lights against LSU with both teams having something to play for, that's what you want, man. That's exactly what you want.
Yeah.
But I just think I am really high on LSU this year. So, I have them losing that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, from where we came from last year, where we're trying to get back to, I think at the very least, if they are 8-3 going into that LSU game, if they finish 8-4, then LSU was just better that day. They've got, probably one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Then so be it. Like, again, I'll be pissed off because I'm a fan that day, but when I'm able to look back on it, it's like, okay, like positive steps were taken, just get better. And then we'll go from there. Real quick, guys, because we need to get out of here, but college football did start, unfortunately, last week because boy, Farmageddon, that was not very fun. That was not very Farmageddon-y, from the Iowa State, K-State games that I think a lot of people can remember over the last few years. It was kind of a bad football game, but any thoughts from week 0? Peyton, I'll start with you.
Hope to God your team never has to go to Dublin and play week 0.
Nope.
I think that's the one thing I've seen on that. And then if you do go, make sure your family shoes are in order. Just don't do that. Don't do that in a foreign country.
Yeah, that was interesting. Oh well. Alan, anything?
No, I mean Iowa State and Kansas State. I don't think that after watching that, I don't think those look like teams that will compete for the Big 12 this year. Man, I like Rocco Becht a lot, though. Like, there's a part of me that was like watching him, like, man, I kind of wish OU had maybe tried to go and get him out of the portal. But I'm okay with who they got. So,
yeah, I talked myself into Kansas State winning the Big 12 before this year. So, that's on me. Took a heavy hit in week 0.
Ride or die.
That. And you know what? It's on me because for whatever reason, I talked myself into being like, yeah, Avery Johnson has probably gotten better at throwing the football. He hasn't. It looks bad. It looks bad. I feel like their path to success is being like just looking at 2019 OU offensive film with Jalen Hurts. And just being like, we're going to run you about 20 to 25 times a game. And you're going to throw it maybe 15 times. And that's going to be our path to success. But, Iowa State and Rocco Becht, I'm with you, Alan. Like, he looked really good. I was a little bit down on them just because I just don't know if a program like Iowa State can afford losing Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel like they did. Like, guys that got drafted in the second round and third round at wide receiver. And I really was not impressed with their skill position guys. I was impressed with Rocco Becht, though.
Yeah, gutty.
You had a little Baker to him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. Do we
every white quarterback with moxie is Baker?
No,
So-
man, how sick are we going to be with the John Mateer Baker? I'm already
dude,
sick
already.
of the John Mateer Baker
stop.
stuff.
Yeah, no, please.
Yeah, please let's let things breathe for a while before we start making comparisons. Texas, Ohio State. We're gonna find out pretty damn quick if Arch Manning is that guy. So, what are you guys thinking? Because
I think Ohio State has the two best players, and that potentially is enough to get them over the hump. But we'll find out if Arch can do it.
yeah, I go back and forth with either team. They're both incredibly talented. They both have first year starting quarterbacks. Okay, well then you typically, I guess, favor the one playing at home. But at the same time, Ohio State has two new coordinators, and but also at the same time, Arch Manning, is he that guy? I feel like a part of that question has been answered, and he's good enough to be maybe Quinn Ewers. Maybe he's made an incredible leap in an offseason, but I don't know if quarterbacks that do make a leap from I'm Quinn Ewers to all of a sudden I'm the greatest college football quarterback in the country. So if he's Quinn Ewers, then that clearly means that Texas is still going to be formidable. They're going to be good. They're going to be good enough to win the conference. They're going to be good enough to get to the playoff and win a game or so. But I think that they need better than that. So, I mean, Alan, you had mentioned, you're excited to see Matt Patricia call for Ohio State. So, I mean,
Well, yeah, that's the big question
On
here.
offense, right?
Yeah. He's well, maybe both for all we know. No, I think that's the big question is just did they lose anything in that transition? But the thing I'm watching really here is how does Texas offensive line hold up against Ohio State's defensive line? Like to me, that's both of those are pretty much overhauled units based on who left. And so which one restocked first? I tend to think that's going to favor the defensive side a little bit more since it's the opening week, which is why I'm rolling with Ohio State. But I mean, the line keeps dropping. It's close down to pick 'em now. I think maybe Ohio State's a 1-point favorite. So, it'll be, I expect it'll be a tight game.
Yeah, I mean, and to mirror something or echo something I said earlier, a decade ago, this is when you want Arch taking the snaps, right? I mean, you want him to, you don't want him out there as a freshman or a sophomore. You want him out there as the third year guy, and that's when he's taking snaps.
True.
So this is really Texas is kind of like a throwback for how you used to see quarterbacks play in college football. I just think that Jeremiah Smith is quarterback independent,
Yeah.
And I think that may just be enough to make a couple of big play. I mean, these type of things where they're equal. I just think who has the ability to make a play or two, and just like we saw in the playoff game, I think that's going to be Ohio State. That said, Arch is going to be much more of a college quarterback than Quinn was because he can run the football. They can do some zone read stuff with him that they couldn't do beforehand. So I think there may be some back-breaking runs he could give, kind of like what we expect out of John Mateer, that might give you some Colt McCoy-ish shades, I guess, to kind of make Ohio State's defense work. Now, if you've bought completely into the Ohio State propaganda, they weren't running Jim Knowles' defense in the playoffs.
I heard like the exact opposite, that they weren't running Knowles' defense all year, and then he was like,
You never
we're
know.
doing this. Yeah.
You never
that's
know
why
at this
he-
point in time.
that's why he wanted to leave.
That and your point about Jeremiah Smith, I think he's also proof of play caller as well. Like Brian Hartline's their OC now. I do think that's a big step down from Chip Kelly for sure, but also I don't know shit about football X's and O's, but I know that I could find a way to get number 4 of the football pretty effectively.
Right.
If he was on my team.
They didn't last year in the playoffs, but that said, it's like, oh no, I have to throw to one of the other 5-star wide receivers.
Exactly.
That's. I think Ohio State will test Texas in a way they will not be tested all year, and that will be on the secondary. And how are they going to get pressure? Can they get pressure on that quarterback? If they do, can that quarterback get the ball out in time? That to me is kind of the game within the game for this. And then on the other side, can Texas run the football, because they could not run the football against Ohio State last year after running the football very well all year. So that will be the other game within the game for me. I don't even think Arch is really that big of a storyline, other than he's going to be the headliner. But I don't think from a game perspective, it doesn't quite matter unless he's just terrible.
And with probably a worse offensive line than they had last year. Yeah.
One quick thought. I mean, Auburn, Baylor, Jackson Arnold. Yeah, we'll watch him. What, Friday? Or is that Thursday or Friday?
Friday.
Hey, cool. Hi, Jackson.
Friday night.
Last thing before we get out of here. This isn't on the Google Doc. I did want to mention something and bounce something off of you guys, because we kind of talked about in the group chat a few days ago. Why do OSU fans want Bedlam to come back? Like, seriously, think about it. Like, I think Bedlam should just go away, like other rivalries have gone away, because it's in the most absolute perfect spot that it could possibly be in. OU won 99.9% of the games. Everybody knows that. But they won the last one. Cool. You could create no other situation where both fan bases would chirp at each other more than this. Because if they ever start playing again, it's just going to continue going down the route of OU wins 99.9% of these games, and they really mean nothing to a fan, a weirdo, crazy fan like me. It is just simply another game on the schedule. It may as well be friggin' Tulsa. Like, yeah, does it mean a little bit more? Of course it does, because it would be very embarrassing to lose to a program like that. So, Peyton, you and I went back and forth on it. Why do they want to play this game?
So I always consider myself, I always relate to the underdog. Obviously not in the Oklahoma, obviously not in Bedlam, but I just relate to underdogs. So if you're an OSU fan, losing doesn't matter, right? Because you're expected to lose. So it doesn't matter. But the one win matters more than anything else, right? So yeah, who cares? Line them up. Beat us 100 times. But OU fans get so pissed off, right, on the one win, on the one loss out of 50 tries or something. We do it to ourselves, so it gives OSU fans something to coast on, something to eat on. I mean, but the thing is, we're not fans of teams like that, right? Like a Northwestern or a Kansas or a Kansas State. Historically, the wins matter so much more than the losses. Oklahoma fans, what do we remember? You remember all those fucking losses. The wins all kind of blur together, but it's about not losing. Or for Oklahoma State or for an Iowa State, something like that, it's about the wins. And it doesn't really matter for anything else. And that's something that it's hard for us to see. Last year, you go to Oklahoma and you say, you get a chance to beat Alabama, stuff like that. And, the wins that Oklahoma did have, a lot of programs would have said, sign me up. But for Oklahoma, it didn't matter. Winning against Alabama, it did not matter. The only thing that mattered was to get people pissed off when we lost the next week. It just truly did not matter being Alabama. That kind of stuff's sad. I won't say, maybe not sad. Maybe I need a perspective shift when it comes down to playing these teams, because I'm looking at this thinking, you play Alabama, you play Missouri, you play LSU back to back to back. Whatever Oklahoma gets out of that, I need to feel good about it. This is a game by game season for Oklahoma.
There are layers of fandom. Like, I was very excited when we were beating Alabama and when we beat them, but then it quickly kind of lost its luster when I remembered this is just kind of a dream. This is essentially just a dream. It's empty calories. Yeah. You're eating an entire cookie cake because you're at home alone for the weekend and you're like, screw it. No one's going to see, no one's going to care. It's not going to count. But it does count. And that's the burden of being an OU fan, is being hyper aware of, we didn't beat this team by enough points. And so I'm kind of angry. That's the burden of being an OU fan. I mean, Alan, did you have any thoughts on this prompt at all, or?
No, man. I mean, but what is life more than a dream? You know what I mean? Like,
there you go.
It's all these are in the long run, man. They're all exhibitions.
All that we see or seem, or something like that. I think someone wrote those words.
Yeah, to tie it into a discussion I think we had before the podcast, Bedlam is having the flair on the walls. Right. I mean, it's the part of the Cracker Barrel experience. That's a lot of the stuff you're never going to order. It's the Tuesday special. No one orders it, but it makes you feel good. It's on the menu. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's parts to it that don't make sense, but once you remove them, it doesn't feel right. And that's just how I feel about it. Like, I want to play Nebraska. I want to play Oklahoma State. Nebraska feelings even just on the edge for me. Like, I don't know, but it'd be cool to play them. If Oklahoma had like a permanent non-con, kind of like Georgia, South Carolina, stuff like that, it would be interesting if Oklahoma and Nebraska could figure out something. But who knows? But
to Bedlam real quick, I don't think that if you put true serum in OSU fans that they would want to play that game again. I don't think so. I think some of them are perfectly fine. I think they are perfectly fine with. We got some OSU listeners to the show. Shout out to them. They're probably not listening to this podcast, but they love signing everything like forever Bedlam champs, right?
Yeah,
they love doing that. I don't think that they, let them have it. And kind of like you were saying, it's like, hey, like it's kind of poetic, right? You get your ass kicked 99 times, but you win that last one. You're like, fuck it, I'm taking my ball and I'm going home, dude. Like, I'm taking my ball, I'm going home. Last person to score wins. Let's go. That's really what it feels like, and I get it. And OU was the older brother that went off to college, so to speak, right? They went off to the SEC, but hey, the last time we played when you were living at the house, bro, I got you, and I'll have that over you forever. So I feel like that's, if you put true serum in OSU fans, that's really what they want. But I do enjoy and think it's pretty funny, the like grandstanding of like, you guys are scared to play us again because you don't want to lose again. I just love it, man. That's what it's all about.
And OU fans, I try not to tell you all how to fan, but I will encourage you to respond in this fashion. Just say, you're right, we are scared, and just move on, because who cares? Who cares about, we've got bigger fish to fry. And in OSU's fans' defense, because if an OSU fan's listening to this, oh, you guys went 6-7 last year, huh? It's like, and to that respect, yeah, we're trying to beat, who's the worst team on our schedule in conference? Is it Auburn?
Missouri, probably.
Missouri. We're trying to beat Missouri. Okay. So, but we will. It's probably this year, maybe this year, but definitely in the future. And when we do, those are the fish we're trying to fry. So just wanted to say that, because the off season's over finally, and I don't have to worry about the opinions of fans who root for teams that I don't root for. But any final thoughts, gents, before we get out of here?
Nothing for me.
All righty, guys.
Be safe on the lake. Be safe. For this Labor Day weekend.
Keyholepod.com for the written articles from both Peyton Guthrie and Alan Kennigo. That's the free one. Patreon.com/throughthekeyhole for extra podcasts coming this week, extra written articles as well. You can go find that there on Patreon. We would welcome you with open arms. Also, don't forget, on Patreon, No Cap Recap is coming back on Sundays for the most part, because now we play at night. We're not playing in the morning anymore on Saturdays. Now we play at night. So the only place you can hear our post-game thoughts, raw, angry, happy, tired, hungover, will be patreon.com/throughthekeyhole for the No Cap Recap on Sunday, where you can hear a combination of us, because we're all busy on Sundays, but we try our best to get all together and talk about the game that was. So look forward to that this Sunday, coming back for season 4, season 5. I can't remember. Can't count. But anyway, everybody, thank you so much for continuing to listen here at Through the Keyhole. We appreciate that. We appreciate you. And we look forward to another fun season with you. And hopefully we'll hold on to you for the entire ride for the Crazy Train. But for Matt Burton, Peyton Guthrie, Alan Kinney, myself, Brady Trantham, everybody, thank you so much for listening to Through the Keyhole. Until next time, Boomer?
Sooner?